Hi, Roz, and welcome to No Panic's videos. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to do this.
Great. Right. Okay. Your specialist subject is what we're going to do a little video about today, which is perfectionism. Can you tell me a little bit about it? What actually is perfectionism?
So, perfectionism has quite a broad meaning. And when we're thinking about it in relation to anxiety or low mood, mental health problems, we're often thinking of it in terms of unhealthy perfectionism as opposed to healthy perfectionism. So, there is a difference between sort of healthy striving for excellence and unhealthy kind of perfectionism, in which that striving really affects your functioning. You can't work as well or go about your usual activities as well as you might otherwise, because your self-esteem is really dependent on achieving those high standards, and it assumes such an importance in your life that it actually holds you back.
Mm, mm, okay. So how do you know if you've actually got perfectionism? And what are the major signs? It's interfering with your day-to-day life, or what would be the major signs? Where's the difference between the two?
I mean, it's a very good question. So I think it isn't just a matter of the standard, which you've talked about. So again, you're healthy striving for excellence. People can have very high standards. That's not a problem in itself. It's the things that go along with that. So some of the thinking that would characterize it, which is I must be the best. If I'm not the best, then I'm nothing and I'm worthless. So that's sort of all or nothing thinking, in which your whole way of viewing yourself is dependent on achieving your standard. That sort of drive of I must never give up, even if I'm exhausted, even if I'm haven't eaten, even if I'm injured, I've still got to carry on. So not sort of being able to stop and get some sort of perspective on it, and feeling exhausted, being very self-critical is a hallmark of unhealthy perfectionism. And some of the behaviors in terms of avoidance and procrastination that can be a sign of perfectionism, or checking and rechecking and redoing things, and being extremely stressed and worried and anxious about your performance in such a way it just becomes overwhelming. So
Mm,
those are really the characteristics. And if you make a mistake, if you're a sort of someone who's striving for healthy excellence, you kind of say, okay, well, that's a learning opportunity. What can I learn from that? What can I do differently?
mhm.
Where it becomes unhealthy is sort of reacting to mistakes in a kind of catastrophic manner, which is it's terrible, I'm never going to be good enough, it's all of that work was useless. So the sort of reaction and sort of inability to learn from mistakes, being unable to tolerate the uncertainty and not knowing how you're going to do all of those things together can be indicative of a perfectionism that's unhealthy. And also the area in which it's expressed is important. So if someone watching this has social anxiety and they're a perfectionist in terms of social interactions, I've always got to say the right thing. People will be judging me, and I can't go to can't socialize. All of those things are going to interact with the mental health problem. If it's someone's watching this with an eating problem, then you can see how wanting to be the best at losing weight is really going to be inherently problematic compared to, let's say, somebody that wants to be the best at music or a hobby. So that the domain in which the perfectionism is expressed is also important to consider.
Okay, so if you think you've got perfectionism, then what do you do about it? Can it be cured? Is there a way out?
So perfectionism isn't a disease in the way that you're sort of looking for a cure, but certainly I think the strategies that have been developed in terms of understanding the thinking, understanding the emotions, understanding the behavior, and making some changes, those can be very helpful. And that there's lots of work that shows that it can be helpful by sort of getting some therapy, but also if you follow a book, and it's sort of guided self-help book, so going through the book and going through the exercises with people, and really sort of the hallmark of that is finding out what works best for you. It's not about lowering your standards. It's not about making you a slob, because nobody want there's nothing wrong with the healthy striving for excellence. but it's about transforming some of the unhealthy thinking and unhelpful thinking and behaviors into ones that work better for the individual.
Mm-hmm. So who would somebody address then? Who's the best person to address? If you think, or you know that you're going through this kind of day in, day out, it's overtaking your life, what's the first step? Do you contact your doctor? What do you do?
So it does depend on your circumstances, but certainly if it's a mental health problem, the first port of call would be to go to your doctor if it's interfering with your life, and see whether or not your doctor might refer you to some of the usual services, because the chances are that you are feeling depressed and you are feeling anxious. And then the therapist who's helping with the anxiety and the low mood can also help with some of the perfectionism. If you're at university and you're watching this and you're very stressed and being perfectionist in a university setting, you might choose to go to your university counsellor instead. So it depends slightly on the setting. And if you're someone who really prefers to go through things on your own, then again, I would suggest that you get a supporter or a guide, or maybe even someone from No Panic could help, going through session by session and doing some of those exercises. So I think it really does vary, but I think what's key is not to think, oh, well, I've always been a perfectionist, it's just part of me, it's who I am. And I think lots of people have regarded perfectionism as a sort of personality characteristic. And it was only really quite recently that we thought, no, you know what, perfectionism can be a problem like other kind of problems that is amenable to change. So I would say, don't just think it's part of you, there's nothing that can be done, because we do know that there's lots that can be done to improve people's quality of life without diminishing their productivity and their output at all.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah. We've actually got a great piece over on our website by your very good self on perfectionism in our resources centre. And like you say, you can also get in touch with us at No Panic if you think that perfectionism is a problem for you, it's affecting your day-to-day living. Then please get in touch with us, and we will do all we can to help you. Thank you so much, Roz, for clarifying this subject, and I'm sure it's been a great help to many people. Thank you very much indeed. Roz Shafran.
Well, thank you for all the amazing work No Panic do. You're fantastic.
Thank you.